3, he says. P minus negative 3 equals negative 15. What do we have to do very first before we do anything else? We do have to ka-chink, ka-chink first. That's true. Now, how's that 3 attached to the P? Is it added, subtracted, multiplied, divided, or something else? It's added. So how do we get rid of it? Subtract it. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. What's negative 15 plus negative 3? Negative 18. Sides are the same, so we add and keep the sign, right? What other questions do we have from this test? 11. All right. It's not uncommon to have some trouble a little bit with the absolute value problems at first. The more you get them better now, the easier it's going to be later when you have to do them in other classes.
Number 10.
Well, I'm doing 11 because that was what was asked for next. And I think 10 was also asked for, but you know, there it is. Negative 2n plus 6, absolute value, equals 6. What do we have to do? The positive one is exactly the same, but with no absolute value, right? So negative 2n plus 6 equals 6. The negative one, what do we do with that?
We have parentheses and a minus.
That's right. So negative of everything in the absolute value. Now what do we do? Subtract the 6 from both sides. Sounds good. What do we do on this one?
We divide by times 1, I think. No, divide by 1.
We could divide by negative 1. We could also distribute the negative 1. Either one of those methods will get us there, right? Because this will cancel because it's all the whole thing. What do we end up with on this one? Negative 2n equals what? 0. And what do we end up with over here? Over here, negative 6, yes. Negative 2n plus 6 equals negative 6. What do we do next over here? That's not a 2. That's a negative 2. What do we do next over here?
Minus 6. Subtract 6.
Yes. What do we end up with on this one? N equals 0.
No.
What? Oh. Negative 2n equals what?
1? Negative 1?
No. Because we add and keep the sign, so negative 6 plus negative 6, so they're the same, right? So negative 12, right? Now what would we do? Thank you. Divide the negative 2 off. So n would equal what? I don't think so. Positive 6. Any questions on that problem? Okay, let's look at number 10. I'm going to evaluate the absolute value of 3t minus 2u plus 5v when t equals 2 and u equals -5 and v equals -3. So what do we do?
Replace all the values to them.
I'm going to substitute numbers where the letters are. What's going to go right here?
2.
And then 6 in a minute. What's going to go right here? -5. And then right here? -3. What do we do next? I didn't understand most of what you said. What did you say?
Combined 3 and 2 and -2 and 5.
What do you mean by combine?
Like times.
Yeah, we multiply them. So what's 3 times 2?
6.
What's -2 times -5?
10.
Positive 10. Because a negative times a negative is positive, right? And then what's 5 times -3? -15. Now what would we do?
Absolute value.
Well, what's inside the absolute value? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's 6 plus 10? 16. Now what would we do? What? What's the absolute value of 16? 16. Now what would we do? Which would give us 1. Yeah, we can do 9. Did have lots of weird things that happened on 9. I don't know whether we tried to do too much or too little or just got confused or what happened on 9. But 9 did go a little crazy. Six minus 14 d plus 3 equals -12 times 8d minus 1. So, what should we do? I can't get to them. They're stuck. It's not a proportion. Oh, distribute. Yeah, that's right. That thing. Yes. Distribute. We should totally distribute. Distribute the 6 and distribute the -12. When we distribute, what are we doing? Are we adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, something else? Multiplying. So what's 6 times -14d? 6 times -14. We're not adding them, we're multiplying them, right? If you're not copying this down, why not?
Because they did it and I erased it.
If you're not, I see minus points on that problem. If you're not writing this down, why not? What's 6 times 3? 18. Positive 18, I agree. And then what's -12 times 8d? Negative 96D. And then what's negative 12 times negative 1? 12. Now what? Yep, how do we do that? Because we got to move one from one side to the other side. So what do we do? Add 96D. If we're going across the equals, then the sign changes. Don't change the sign if you're not going across the equals. But if you go across the equals and you're adding, subtracting, it changes, right? What's negative 84D plus 96D? Negative 84D plus 96D. It is not negative 12. That's false. It is positive 12. The bigger one's 96, right? So positive 12D plus 18 equals 12. Now what? Sounds good. How? So 12D equals, what's 12 minus 18? Negative 6. And then what do? Divide the 12 off. So D equals what? Negative 1/2. No, I mean 1/2. You reduced from?
Which my grandma who was a teacher, she picked me up, she dropped me off there, so I was like, bye.
You needed 14. Is that what you said? Is that the complicated proportion one? Yes, it is. I can't understand you, son. Yes. Okay. What do we do? What? Kinda.
Multiply by 2g plus 1 and goes to the other side, and g plus 6 also multiply and goes to the other side.
So since there's an equals in the middle, not a times, right? We cross multiply. All right? Don't get it twisted. You multiply fractions straight across, but there's an equals there, not a times, right? So that turns into negative 3 times g plus 6 equals 3 times 2g plus 1, right? Now what would we do? We would distribute, that's right. So what's negative 3 times g? Negative 3g. What is negative 3 times 6? No. Negative 18. What's 3 times 2g? 6g. And what's 3 times 1?
3.
Now what? What do you mean? They're not on the same side. I can't combine them. But I can get them together. So how? So what do you mean? Add 3g? Sure. You could also subtract the 6g. Either one would work. G plus 3. Now what? Take out the 3 sounds great. How? Subtract it. So 9G equals negative 21. Excuse me. Now what? Divide by 9. So G equals something. What does it equal? Negative 21 ninths, which reduces negative 7/3. Or 2 1/3 if you prefer. But not 2.3 because that's rounded, stupid. You have to put a little line if you're going to do that. Let's see. 15, you do 12 minus 64 divided by 64. And then you get negative 52/64. And then you got to get a decimal and you end up with negative 0.8125. And then you convert that to a percent and you'd get 81.25. And since it's negative, it's decreasing. Let's do today's stuff. Unit 3. Oh, that reminds me. I think I have. That sounds accurate. This quiz from the other day. All right. Unit 3. Graphing linear equations. What numbers did we do? 2 through 12. Oops. You could, if you want to check your stuff, you can do that later. Number 2 is yes. 2x plus y equals negative 3. Number 4 is yes. 2x minus y equals 6. Number 6 is 12. Negative 4. So 12 is the y-intercept. Excuse me. The x-intercept and negative 24 is the y-intercept. The x-intercept 12 means that after 12 seconds, the scuba diver is at a depth of 0 meters or at the surface. The y-intercept of negative 24 means that at time 0, the scuba diver is at a depth of negative 24 meters or 24 meters below the sea level. Number 8 is a picture. We'll take a look at it. Looks like the rest of them are pictures. I need the television and to spin things around. Number 8 says graph the something, something, something. Number 8 says graph each equation by using the x and y intercept. So yes, 8 is a picture.
That's why I didn't want to do y.
Huh?
That's why I didn't want to do y.
You didn't. It gives you in the it's where the zeros are. Is what you're looking for. It's kind of like number 6. It's the same sort of problem as number 6. All right, 3-1, numbers 8, 10, and then 12. Always a word problem. Okay. I didn't count them because we didn't do that lesson, and I forgot and gave you them anyway. number 8 looks like that. Number 10 is like these guys. The table's up there. You probably, for your table, you probably only did, and this is fine, you probably only did this first and third column, and that's fine. If you did anything. And the graph looks like that guy, and then the domain is all real numbers, which is right there. And the range is always -1, because it's always -1 on number 10. Number 12A is somewhere, there it is. Let me show you the picture. 12A looks like that. 12B, the x-intercept means that 12 children and 0 adults can attend for $180. And the y-intercept would mean that 0 children and 6 adults can attend for $180. So what questions do we have from that lesson, boys and girls?
6.
Number 6. Let me throw that up on the screen because we have it, and I'll talk about it over there. That's probably going to be the easiest way.
Both yes.
Huh?
It's 14 and 18 both yes.
14 and 18 are both yes.
And 16
Let's go.
no.
16 is no. Yeah, you're right. Nice.
But I don't know.
Oh, come on. There we go. All right, so number 6 is that problem. Where's my black marker? Put it somewhere. There it is. So number 6, we are asked to find the x and y intercepts of the graph and describe what it means. So at the x-intercept, what is y equal to? 0. At the y-intercept, what is x equal to? 0. So where's the x-intercept? That's the y-intercept, right? Remember, it's the opposite. For the y-intercept, x is 0. So this right here would be the y-intercept. Right? And this one right here would be the x-intercept. And then what do they mean? So at the x-intercept, how much time has gone by? None. 0 times. So at time 0, where is the scuba diver?
Nowhere.
At time 0, where is the scuba diver? Yeah, so he's down 24 watts. What is this measured in? Meters. So he's down 24 meters. So that's what the y-intercept means. The x-intercept, what does that mean? What does this mean? At 12 seconds, where is he? At 0 meters, so he's at the surface, right? He didn't fly out of the thing, but he ended up at the top, right? So that's what they mean, and that's all that problem is. Easy money. Does that make sense? What other questions from this lesson? 10? Okay. Yes, sir? All right, number 10. All right, let me swing the camera around. Number 10, we are supposed to graph each equation by making a table, then state the domain and range. And number 10's equation is -3 plus 2y equals -5. If I plug in a -2 in for x, what would happen? Is there a place to plug it in?
No. Well, yes.
Where?
Wait,
No. There's not anywhere, right? So let's add 3, right? And get 2y equals -2. And then let's divide by 2 and get y equals -1. If I plug a -2 in for x, what does y equal? What does y equal? -1. If I plug a -1 in for x, what does y equal?
0.
Why? Why would it change? Why? Where's the x? Where am I plugging it in? Let me make this easier for you. Are you ready? Let me give you a place to put in x. I'm gonna magic in a place. Are you ready? Let's magic in a place to put an x. So if I put a -1 in there, what's -1 times 0? If I plug a -1 in there, what's -1 times 0? 0 plus -1 is -1 plus 0 is what? -1. Thank you. If I plug a 0 in for x, what does y equal? -1. If I plug a 1 in for x, what does y equal? -1. If I plug a 2 in for x, what does y equal?
5.
No, -1. So this particular function is actually called a constant function. It's always equal to -1. It has a slope of 0. There's no slope. It doesn't rise or run anywhere. Well, it doesn't rise anywhere. It only runs. Right? And he looks just like this. Always equal to -1. No matter what x is, he's always equal to -1. That makes sense? What other questions from this lesson do we have? 12. You did not. That's false. You technically did not get it right. Number 12, the equation 5x plus 30y equals 180 represents the number of children, x, and adults, y, who can attend the rodeo for $180. Use the x and y intercepts to graph the equation. So let's start there. Okay. So the equation is 15x plus 30y equals 180. Okay? If I want to find the x and y intercepts, what do I do? If I want to find the x intercept, what do I do?
Replace the y.
With 0. Okay? So for the x-intercept, I've got 15x plus 30 times 0 equals 180. Now what happens? 30's not there. It's gone. So what do I do now? Right. What do I do with the 15? What's 180 divided by 15? I heard two different numbers. Somebody else check.
Sorry.
Okay.
I did Y first, so.
Okay. So 12, 0 is the x-intercept. To find the y-intercept, what do I do?
Replace the x.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So 15 times 0 plus 30y equals 180. So what happens? Yeah, because this one goes away. That's true. So y equals 6. Okay, so now we need to graph the thing. Now, I don't know if y'all noticed in the key, But when we graphed this, there's a big old chunk of the graph missing from the way we would graph it normally. Did y'all notice that? Can we have a negative kid? Not a negative attitude, that's different. But can we have a negative kid? No.
If he's not born yet, then.
Do they charge for fetuses? They do not. That's not true. I'm not frequenting the amusement park if they charge extra for a pregnant woman. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. We can't have negative kids, so we can't have negative things, right? Are we going to get charged negative money? Is the rodeo going to give us money to come? No, they're not. So we don't need that either, right? So there's our graph. What is the x-axis going to be labeled? What does x represent in this situation? What does x represent? Children. The axis, yeah, that's the intercept. So this is children. This is the children axis. What is the y-axis? Adult axis.
So it's now technically like line graph-ish. Like, if you do like a line graph, not line.
What do you want to count by? Because I don't want to count by ones and like go to there. Threes or twos or even fours. I think let's count by twos. I think that's reasonable. I think we can put 6 dashes. I think we can do that. What do y'all think?
I think I accidentally did it way too quick. Counted by
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we got to make sure we label, right? Some of them so we know what's happening if we change. You don't have to label if you count by ones, but you have to label if you count by something else, right? Or else who the heck knows what's happening, right?
But you could count by one if you wanted.
So you could, and it wouldn't be unbelievably terrible. You just end up having to count 12 instead of 6. So we put a dot right here, and we put a dot right here. And then we connect our dots. And let's talk about that. We'll answer 12b in a minute, but let's take a step back and let's talk about what this line is. So if I go and I find this point right here, if I find that point on there, what does that dot on that line represent? 4 adults and 4 kids. Let's see if that works. What's 4 times 15 plus 4 times 30? Somebody punch it. See if I guessed right on where the dot lives.
What was it?
4 times 15 and 4 times 30.
Yeah.
I'm too easy.
No, you're not. That's a lie. What?
I did together.
Did you say 7,000? Because there's no way that's right.
3,000.
180.
3,000. Get it right.
How are you getting 3,000? What are y'all doing?
I got 1,800.
Why? 15 times 4 plus 30 times 4.
90, so 90 plus, yeah.
180.
24.
Oh, it's because I multiplied the third
No,
one.
he is,
so
that's what I
that wasn't supposed to happen.
Double check your work before speaking nonsense.
Yo, 180.
Yo, it's 180. Wow. So you can take 4 kids and 4 adults, right? So anywhere along this line, in any combination, if you have 2.5 kids, right? And then however many adults that would be, you're going to spend $180, right? That's what this line represents. It represents the different combinations that you can have where you're going to spend $180 at this rodeo, right? That's what the orange line represents.
I would not do that.
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, we won't do half kids, right? No. Okay, so, but then for part B, we need to figure out what the intercepts means. And this is really important. This problem is super important to start thinking this way, because then when you get to physics and when you get to chemistry, or even a couple of things in biology, when you're getting things, it's very important that you start to think about what does the intercept represent. And the intercepts represent what the thing is when the other thing is zero. So what is this dot right here? If I go and I grab another color and I put a dot right here, if I put a brown dot right there, what is that situation? What does the x-intercept represent? 12 children, no adults, right? That's probably a bad idea. Don't take 12 kids with no adults to the rodeo. Don't do that. But that's what that intercept represents. That will be half of part B, right? The other half, would you two quit it? Quit being distracted by each other. Stop it. It's not really your fault, but you were also spaced out. But he was distracted by your space. So let go, breathe, come back, welcome back. Now, what does the y-intercept? So this dot right here represent? 6 adults. We got a triple date going on, right? 6 adults went to the rodeo. Wahoo! Great. So that's what those represent. Does that make sense? That's part B. That is, and what I'm saying, what I'm stressing is this is a very important topic to think about. So like in that problem where the scuba diver thing, at time 0, so at the beginning of one of our experiment, this is happening. And the other one is at the other 0, it's when he gets to the surface. It's like that mole problem on that problem we had a while back. When the mole gets to the surface, that's at 0, right? And then he jumps up and he gets ate up by the dog, right? So that's he's jumping higher, right? But that's at the surface. That's our axis. Yes, our axis. And the other one would start at time 0, so that would be at the beginning, yeah? Okay. All right. Any other questions from this homework set? What? Negative 10,000. Okay. All right. Let's do some more maths. Actually, first, let's take a quiz. Everybody's favorite. Okay. So, this is quiz 3-1. And it's going to be on page 160. And we're going to do numbers 23 and 27. Ready to go.
What did you do with our teacher?
Now,